Rachel Service here, the CEO of Happiness Concierge and the author of There Has to Be More, the Essential Guide to Personal Growth. Welcome to your game plan. In this section, we'll be doing an exercise called the People Audit, where you'll do an evaluation of your network and how to bring more beautiful people into your life or spend more time with people who are important to you, and how to minimize exposure to those who might not be helping you achieve your I want list, hopes, dreams, and goals. Let's step through it. Now, if you have your Essential Guide to Personal Growth, I'm here on page 102. And if you have your workbook, we're here on page 63. Now, as you go through your I want list, until now, it might not have become clear that your network, as they say, is your net worth. And I love that quote from Lovia J, who says, the people who surround us model what is possible. And if we want to, and I pray that you do, move your I want list into an inevitability, to make it inevitable. So many syllables there. Syllables. It's about looking at your network to say who might support me, who teaches me, who's fun to be around, and who inspires me. So be open with this exercise. And no, it's not necessarily a cull, although that could be a side effect of doing a people audit. It's just aligning your goals, your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, your inevitable future with the people around you so that it makes it easier. Fun fact, sociologist Mark Granovetter have discovered that weak ties, that is, people one step outside our immediate network, were so much more likely to expose us to wider opportunities than those in our strong tie network, e.g. family and immediate family and friends. Why? Because they have exposure to things that we might not see on any given day. That is, people we bump into from time to time informally actually had the greater exposure than people immediately within our networks. So, hey, I'm not here to say strong tie, weak tie is better than the other. All I am learning and observing is that the powerful sum of those we choose to expose ourselves to and the frequency in which we do that has a direct correlation to the likelihood of our achieving our I want lists. So the first question to ask in your people audit is, who in my network supports me? Who is your relentless cheerleader? Maybe there's more than one. Is it your spouse? Is it your special person? Is it a friend? Is it your imagination for now? Is it a child? Is it someone online who you don't know that well, but you virtually high-five each other? Who in your network supports you? Who supports you, and who do you get a sense is open to endorsing the future you, the person you're looking to communicate or express more of? The other category I want to look at is who in your network would be teaching you, inspiring you, helping you grow. Earlier, we talked about the concept by adventurer and educator Tom Zeniger, who spoke about the concept of the learning zone. When we're in the learning zone, we grow. And indeed, when we're in our comfort zone, we're around people who make us feel comfortable, and that's all good. If we're wanting to grow, to expand, to receive and give and contribute more, it's worth thinking about who in my network does teach me. Is it someone maybe you follow online? Is it someone within your network? Maybe it's a mentor, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's someone, an elder, maybe it's someone in your family, maybe it's someone in the hierarchy of work, and maybe it's someone who reports to you. It could be anyone, right? Who do you learn new things from, and who do you gain understanding on wider perspectives from? You know, as an example, we have started to bring in even more people into our network through Happiness Concierge by asking people from outside companies to train us on what they're noticing is working well, so we can fortify our exposure to a wider range of perspectives, right? So we can have an even greater range of perspectives at Happiness Concierge. So that's one such example. I think about people who are mentors, both formally and informally in my world. I learn a lot from my parents, for example. I learn a lot from the people I expose myself to, and of course my clients. That will teach me different things, right? Or help me look at things differently. That expands my worldview. After we've looked at who supports you, who teaches you, here's a fun one. Who inspires you? Maybe it's someone you have in your network. It could be someone you follow online. It could be an artist. It could be a creative. It could be a financier. It could be a VC. It could be anyone. It could be your next door neighbor who inspires you because they represent in some way, small or significant, something that you would like to do more of. When people inspire us, whether it's conscious or subconscious or other conscious, often it's because they have or they're doing something that we yearn for, or we are curious about learning more, or we'd love to be doing what they're doing, or feeling what they're doing, or experiencing what they're experiencing. So who might inspire you? It's great if you know them, and it's okay if you don't know them yet. Y-E-T, yet. And the final question is, who is fun to be around? Not everything has to stretch and grow, right? Like we need some light relief from time to time. Who's plain fun to be around? Who do you enjoy yourself around? Who do you have fun with? Who is in your zone of yes, I can relax, I can feel good, I'm in my comfort zone, I feel loved, supported, safe and secure, and they're funny they're funny as, right? So the final questions are, who supports me, who teaches me, who inspires me, and who is plain fun to be around. Now, as you go through this list, some of your columns might be quite vibrant, and some of your columns might be quite small. That's okay. And some of your columns might not have anyone at all. That's great. Resist the temptation to see that as there has to be less, a sense of scarcity, and instead, there has to be more. There are other people out there that I've yet to meet, and I'm excited to make a bit of room for them in my VIP list, for example. So as you look at these 4 columns or these lists in the workbook, in the Essential Workbook or the Essential Guide here, have a think about how these reflection questions might help you in your thinking. Question 1 here, how often do you get to see the people in each of these categories? For example, if your colleague inspires you, how often do you get to spend time with them? If your sibling teaches you, how often do you get to spend time with them? If your neighbor supports you, how often do you get to have a good chat with them about what you're doing? Or how could you create ways to do that, right? And so the next question is, what opportunities exist to see these people, talk to these people, connect with these people, interlink with these people more frequently? Could you find ways to create that opportunity? Because remember, when we are the benefactor of other people's presence, often we can kind of wait until they create the opportunity for us to see them. But if you want a life where you want more, it's up to you to create the opportunities to experience more. Yeah, that's kind of how growth works, right? It's on you. So how could you create more opportunities? How could you take the lead? How could you be first to text? How could you book a restaurant? How could you email? How could you LinkedIn? How could you reach out on Instagram? How could you start by linking up with them or this person, or simply reaching out and say, hey, I really admire what you do? And then, of course, who didn't make the list? That's the elephant in the room, as they say. Who didn't make the list? Why was that? Are they not fun to be around? Do they not support you? Do they not inspire you or teach you? If so, what role are they supporting? What role are they endorsing? Either A, towards your I want list, if you want to be a bit clinical or more clinical, or B, what's the benefit, right? And we've spoken about this earlier when we talked about breaking up with expectations. There are so many societal expectations. There's so many judgments. There are so many roles we play, whether it's caregiver, support, family member, community member, and the list goes on, right? So when we think about who doesn't make the list, it's less about culling them, although that could be an opportunity if that's right for your unique scenario. But more to the point, could you lessen the exposure or frequency of seeing this person or these people because they're less energizing? Do you know what I mean? If someone's simply energizing to be around and doesn't matter that they don't fit the teach, inspire, fun, or support you list, that's cool. I'm just invite you to think, if there are people who you were choosing to spend time with, because everything is a choice, even when we're on autopilot, choosing to spend time with, how could you lower or limit or boundary the exposure or frequency of these interactions? So let's say there are certain people at your church who for whatever reason, they de-energize you. You don't have to stop going to church, you do you. You might instead simply sit somewhere different or speak to another group or widen your connection there or reappraise your role in that community. If someone at your workplace, maybe in your immediate team, they're not ticking the boxes or they're not energizing you, you can just focus on being attentive and present and thoughtful for your time together. There might be a weekly get together, a weekly WIP meeting, work in progress meeting, or it might be a project meeting. You don't need to just, not going to talk to someone anymore because they're not in my people audit, but rather I'm going to show up for my commitments and then I'm just going to boundary that. I'm going to show up, be excellent, do my best, be clear, be present, be truthful, be committed, contribute, and then I'm just going to step away from contributing in addition to that in other ways as well. So how often are you spending time on the flip side with people who teach you, support you, inspire you, or bring so much fun to your life? Because often when I go through this list with my clients, we're in the pursuit of looking for more in our life and work and heart and soul and mind, often simply making small alterations or tweaks or edits or pivots to the amount of time that we see people who light up our people audit, who bring us energy and joy and life and education and all the great things that come with great people who get you, know you, like you, trust you, can advocate for you. How can we simply dial up the frequency? So for example, let's say someone in your list is in the support function. When was the last time you connected with them? Has it been a while because the world's changing? Could you set up a Zoom call, a phone call, a FaceTime, a text, an email? Let me count the ways. So sometimes when I'm feeling a bit flat, something I like to do that tops up my tank is I like to contribute. So what that means is I'll often get a coffee or something nice, or I'll write a card, and I will, or I'll get one of the books that I've read or borrowed, and I will pay it forward. So I'll text someone and say, hey, I finished reading this book. Can I drop it off at your, I thought it might be your kind of flavor. Can I drop it off at your doorstep or post it to you if we live further away? And this simple act of saying, hey, like I'm interested in igniting a connection, just sends a message to say, hey, like I'd love to spend maybe a bit more time together. If you're open to that, we'll see how that goes. I'll get that feedback from you. If you reply to my text, we'll say yes. And if not, that's cool. I'm just controlling what I can, which is my output, my input as well. That's right. And what small tweak might you make to your decision making when it comes to being asked to go to certain places for certain people? So let's say you got a family obligation and you just can't be bothered, or it didn't make your top 4 list, right? That's cool. You could just really focus on, who do I need to be in this interaction? How can I bring more of myself to this interaction? And how can I accept what I cannot control? So often we can feel anxious, frustrated and annoyed when A, we're not communicating our needs, B, we're overwhelmed and tired, and C, we feel as though we have to act or perform a certain way for a certain role, right? And so how we can limit that anxiety is by focusing on what we can control, by looking after our needs, sleep, food, water, boundaries, and communicating what we want more of, or choosing to show up in different ways. So that's one such example you might think of. Have fun with your people audit, and it's a really hot topic for the people that do this. They love to do it. And just know it's not about culling people from your life, although that might have illustrated that. It's just by, almost imagine like a record dial, you're turning up the frequency for people who give you energy, and you're slowly turning down those who give you less energy, while also committing to your commitments, right? Good luck, have fun with it, and see you soon. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Reach out to hello@happinessconcierge.com, where you can connect with myself and or one of my beautiful Happiness Concierge team members. Speak to you soon. Thanks for watching.